Speed is not just about numbers on a gauge. It is about the feeling of control balanced on the edge of chaos, the connection between human reflexes and mechanical precision. Every generation has its own interpretation of that balance, a machine that pushes limits and rewrites expectations. For some, it is raw horsepower. For others, it is finesse and agility packed into a smaller, sharper form. What happens when that equation is refined to the point where power, weight, and technology converge into a perfect storm of performance? That question fueled a moment in time when two-stroke engineering reached its zenith before disappearing forever. It is a story of obsession, innovation, and a quest to build the ultimate lightweight rocket on two wheels. And that story centers on the Suzuki RGV250 VJ22, produced in 1992, a machine that redefined how far small displacement could go before the rules changed for good. Like, subscribe, and comment which legendary machine you want to see covered next. In 1992, the Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 appeared as a masterpiece of engineering shaped by the golden age of two-stroke racing. It was not a big machine, but it carried the DNA of Suzuki's Grand Prix program, refined for riders who wanted a pure racing experience on public roads. The RGV250 VJ22 represented a philosophy that believed speed could come from precision and efficiency rather than brute force. At its heart was a 249 cubic centimeters liquid-cooled two-stroke V-twin engine tuned for rapid response, breathing through Suzuki's advanced power control system, known as SAPC. This electronic system adjusted exhaust timing to deliver smooth power through the rev range, making it both aggressive and manageable when used correctly. That was essential because the RGV250 VJ22 was not forgiving. It rewarded skill and punished hesitation. The chassis was a sculpted aluminum twin-spar frame, light yet rigid, paired with an upside-down fork and a sophisticated rear linkage that mimicked Grand Prix geometry. Its dry weight hovered around 282 pounds, meaning every flick of the wrist or shift in body position had a direct, amplified effect on performance. Riders described it as more of an instrument than a machine, precise to the point of intimidation. Suzuki developed this precision from lessons learned in the 250 cubic centimeters World Championship, where corner speed and power delivery defined success. The RGV250 VJ22 was built for that battlefield, even though it lived on civilian streets. Every component, from its close ratio gearbox to its narrow race fairing, communicated a single purpose: make the rider faster, not just in a straight line, but everywhere. The aerodynamics followed the shape of Suzuki's factory racers, smooth and efficient, designed to cut cleanly through air resistance. Yet despite its compact size, it projected a presence that demanded respect, partly because of the signature sound of a two-stroke twin spooling into the power band. The RGV250 VJ22 became an instant sensation among enthusiasts who valued agility and feedback over comfort or practicality. It was not built to commute. It was built to transform every back road into a racetrack simulation. The 17-inch wheels wrapped in sticky rubber and its braking system with dual front discs provided the precision needed to manage its feisty personality. But while the numbers looked modest by modern standards, the experience was anything but. The 62 horsepower output might not seem high, yet when matched to the low weight and razor handling, it made the RGV250 VJ22 feel alive, as if the rider's thoughts translated directly into motion. It was a physical expression of Suzuki's engineering ethos at the time. Make smaller displacement bikes feel heroic. During the early 1990s, the motorcycle world was shifting toward cleaner, larger four-stroke engines. Yet the RGV250 VJ22 resisted that change with a final display of two-stroke brilliance. It symbolized a culture that thrived on the mechanical purity of combustion without filters or compromise. Riding it meant living in the moment, balancing throttle and traction, knowing that peak power lived in a narrow band that demanded focus. The frame geometry contributed to that sensitivity. Even a small misjudgment entering a corner could unsettle the bike. But when ridden properly, it delivered the kind of speed and grace that made veterans grin and newcomers feel humbled. Its influence extended beyond its segment. Track riders began to appreciate how the RGV250 VJ22 taught discipline. Brake later, lean deeper, carry more speed. It required precision over raw aggression, shaping better riders through its demands. This machine carried Suzuki's racing spirit directly into the hands of consumers who wanted to experience that world. Yet, the RGV250 VJ22 was more than a tool for competition enthusiasts. It represented a moment in Suzuki's history when engineering innovations still aimed to thrill rather than simply comply. Every part served a performance purpose, and nothing was wasted. That design philosophy would influence the company's later sports bikes even as the two-stroke era began to fade. In 1992, the RGV250 VJ22 captured a fleeting moment of perfection in engineering balance, a harmony between engine, chassis, and rider rarely replicated. Its release marked not just a product launch, but the crest of a technological wave that could not last. By mastering the two-stroke formula so completely, Suzuki also revealed the limits of that technology in a changing world. The RGV250 VJ22 stood at the peak of its class, a showcase of how lightness, control, and passion could overcome displacement. That balance, so difficult to achieve, made it both a legend and a farewell note to an era defined by oil smoke and raw sound. By the time the Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 reached its prime, the motorcycle landscape around it was already shifting. Governments began tightening emissions rules. Manufacturers faced the growing reality that two-stroke engines, however thrilling, were becoming difficult to justify for road use. The VJ22 embodied everything great about the breed and everything that doomed it. Its two-stroke V-twin could deliver an explosive surge of power between 8,000 and 12,000 revolutions per minute. But that same surge came with smoke, oil consumption, and noise levels that regulators wanted to silence. Suzuki engineers understood this and worked tirelessly to make the RGV250 VJ22 cleaner and more predictable. The SAPC system, paired with a precisely tuned carburation setup, managed the power curve with surgical control. In technical terms, it was one of the most advanced small displacement engines ever fitted to a road bike. It featured electronically controlled exhaust valves, variable ignition timing, and a lightweight crankshaft optimized for rapid acceleration. These innovations gave the VJ22 a linearity that earlier two-strokes lacked. It could be fast without feeling out of control. Yet that refinement did not dilute its character. When riders hit the power band, the bike still responded with the familiar shriek that defined the era. The chassis was equally advanced. Suzuki used lessons from its Grand Prix program to craft a structure that was both light and rigid, using extruded and cast aluminum sections to deliver stability under heavy cornering loads. The suspension was fully adjustable, allowing riders to tailor behavior for track or street. Every element of the RGV250 VJ22 reflected racing intelligence filtered through consumer expectations. The brakes, twin 300mm front discs, offered feedback rare for small bikes of the period. Combined with the near weightlessness of the chassis, the braking performance bordered on surgical precision. The result was a motorcycle that demanded finesse. It was easy to underestimate. Its small size could deceive riders into thinking it was docile. But the RGV250 VJ22 operated like a scalpel, cutting through corners with immediacy that bordered on telepathic. What made it special was not only how fast it went, but how alive it felt doing so. You could feel the vibration of each combustion pulse, the resistance of air at triple-digit speeds, the delicate balance of traction on exit. That sensory immersion was what made the VJ22 unforgettable. However, this sensitivity also made it difficult for beginners. It required constant engagement. The clutch, gearbox, and throttle had to work in perfect coordination to stay within the sweet spot. Many owners learned that it was a machine best enjoyed by riders who respected its precision. It was not a commuter bike. It was a performance instrument. The RGV250 VJ22 attracted a dedicated following of enthusiasts who saw it as a pure connection between man and machine. At the same time, critics pointed out its impracticality. Two-stroke engines required frequent maintenance. Spark plugs fouled easily, fuel consumption was high, and rebuild intervals were shorter than those of four-strokes. These were not flaws in the traditional sense. They were symptoms of pushing the design envelope to its limit. Suzuki knew this and never intended the RGV250 VJ22 to appeal to everyone. It was built for riders who wanted to feel every mechanical heartbeat. But while enthusiasts praised its intensity, the world was changing. Four-stroke technology was improving rapidly, and public pressure for cleaner, more efficient transportation was rising. Suzuki's engineers found themselves fighting physics and politics at once. Making a two-stroke engine comply with tightening emissions laws required complex solutions that would undermine its simplicity and cost advantage. The RGV250 VJ22 became a victim of progress, even as it stood as a technical triumph. Its innovations lived on indirectly through design philosophies that later shaped Suzuki's GSX-R line, where lightweight handling and precise control remained core principles. The influence of the RGV250 VJ22 could be felt every time a modern sport bike leaned into a corner with fluid grace. It had proven that small displacement, when engineered with intent, could challenge far larger rivals. That mindset survived even when the two-stroke did not. On the racetrack, the lessons learned from the RGV series influenced the company's approach to chassis geometry, aerodynamics, and throttle response. Even after production ended, private teams continued to race modified RGV250s in lightweight classes, a testament to the platform's brilliance. For many, the VJ22 marked the last time Suzuki's engineering department had the freedom to build a machine purely for performance without compromise. It represented a threshold moment in the early 1990s when mechanical artistry began yielding to regulation and restraint. Every time one of these bikes starts today, the sound recalls that lost balance between raw innovation and the rules that ultimately subdued it. The Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 thus stands not only as a fast motorcycle but as a symbol of an era when engineers were free to chase perfection, even if it could not last forever. When the Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 began to disappear from showrooms, its legend was just beginning to form. The same traits that made it a tough sell in a changing market made it irresistible to purists who recognized its engineering purity. Collectors and riders kept the spirit alive, restoring, maintaining, and riding these machines long after their production ended. What started as a small displacement sport bike evolved into a cultural artifact, representing the height of analog riding in a digital world. The RGV250 VJ22 became the definitive example of how far two-stroke technology could go before the industry pivoted away. In the decades since, it has achieved a kind of mythical status. Among enthusiasts, it is often described as the bike that best captured the feeling of riding a Grand Prix machine without the factory team behind you. Its reputation grew partly because it was never widely available in the United States, making imports all the more desirable. Those who managed to acquire one discovered that its appeal went beyond nostalgia. The RGV250 VJ22 still feels relevant because of its feedback and responsiveness. Modern motorcycles have more power, more electronics, and far more safety nets, but few deliver the same connection. Twist the throttle on an RGV250 VJ22, and you are instantly reminded that skill, timing, and focus matter more than technology. Every corner becomes a dialogue between rider and machine, a test of coordination and nerve. The lack of traction control or ride-by-wire technology gives it a raw personality that modern bikes often hide. Yet, for all its intensity, the RGV250 VJ22 remains manageable because of its lightness. That balance between challenge and reward makes it timeless. Many owners today describe maintaining these bikes as a form of devotion. Parts can be scarce, requiring creativity and community to keep them running. Online forums and specialty builders have become modern support networks for a machine that officially vanished more than 30 years ago. Restorations often focus on preserving originality. Factory fairings, period-correct paint, and even the delicate decals that remind everyone it was once part of a disappearing art form. For younger enthusiasts discovering it now, the RGV250 VJ22 serves as a time capsule. It shows what motorcycles were like before electronics shaped their behavior. It demands full engagement, and that is part of its charm. Each ride becomes a lesson in mechanical empathy. You hear every gear shift, feel every clutch bite, and sense the exact moment when the power valve opens. That mechanical honesty has turned it into a symbol of a lost era. In Japan, Australia, and parts of Europe, small displacement two-strokes once ruled the streets, offering affordable access to serious performance. The RGV250 VJ22 was the pinnacle of that culture. Its combination of razor handling and aggressive power delivery made it the ultimate expression of small bike engineering. When Suzuki ended production, it closed not just a chapter in its history, but in the evolution of performance motorcycles worldwide. The legacy of the RGV250 VJ22 continues in how it influences rider culture. It stands as a reminder that innovation often thrives under constraints, and that artistry and engineering is not limited by size or cost. In collector circles, its value has steadily risen, but its true worth lies in the experience it delivers. Even decades later, those who ride one describe the same emotions that defined its first test riders: focus, excitement, and awe. The RGV250 VJ22 proved that mastery is not measured in cubic centimeters, but in how perfectly a machine responds to intent. It also set a benchmark for what makes a motorcycle memorable. In a world now dominated by electronics and computer-assisted control, its analog character feels more human. Every start, every throttle blip, is a conversation with a piece of history that still has something to teach. The Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 endures not only as a collector's dream but as an artifact of mechanical truth, capturing the essence of what made two-strokes unforgettable and why that chapter of engineering still matters today. The Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 stands today as more than a vintage sport bike. It is a marker of how ambition and technology once met at full throttle. In 1992, Suzuki built it as the ultimate expression of small displacement performance, and over time, it has become a bridge between eras. For anyone who rides or studies it, the RGV250 VJ22 delivers two clear lessons. First, that speed is not only about power but about connection. The intimate link between rider and machine forged through precision engineering. Second, that innovation often shines brightest just before change makes it obsolete. When Suzuki perfected the RGV250 VJ22, it also completed the story of the street-legal two-stroke. The industry would move on to four-stroke refinement, emission control, and electronic assistance, but the spirit that drove this bike never faded. The RGV250 VJ22 reminds us that performance once came from courage as much as calculation. Its engineers created balance through simplicity. They relied on skill and intuition rather than sensors and processors. The result is a motorcycle that remains fresh decades later, not because of its numbers, but because of how it feels. Twist the throttle and you experience engineering that listens and responds in real time. Lean it into a corner and you feel decades of racing heritage working beneath you. That emotional feedback is what riders continue to chase, even as technology evolves. For Suzuki, the RGV250 VJ22 was both an ending and a promise. It closed the chapter on two-stroke supremacy but defined what a lightweight performance bike could achieve. Every modern sport machine that values feedback over force owes it a quiet debt. When people call it the fastest two-stroke pocket rocket Suzuki ever made, they are not just referencing top speed. They are describing how complete the machine felt in its moment. It captured the essence of pure riding better than most bikes before or since. Its importance endures because it speaks to anyone who has ever loved the art of control. The precision of lean angles, throttle inputs, and the quiet satisfaction of mastering something that demands respect. The RGV250 VJ22 may belong to the past, but its influence rides on in every motorcycle that still puts feel above figures. In that way, it remains a living lesson. Greatness is not about domination, it is about harmony. The Suzuki RGV250 VJ22 achieved that harmony, and that is why its name continues to resonate every time a two-stroke engine comes to life.